Well, it's Arrow release time again. It's been a few recently,
They
hasn't
do
there?
release a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and then recently we've had a quick succession of like American Werewolf and
Robocop.
RoboCop, and this week they've released Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Terry Gilliam's kind of landmark film based on the Hunter S. Thompson novel of the same name. As with always, we won't talk about the film. In fact, you didn't. You were going to buy it, weren't you?
Well, yeah, it was too close to Christmas. I can't afford it. But I mean, I haven't seen it since the cinema. So
Oh, okay.
I don't remember loving it, to be fair. So that's another reason I kind of pre-ordered it and then changed my mind. But I will. I do want to watch it again.
Okay.
So
well, I do love it.
Good.
It's a great film. I'm a big fan of Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
He's probably one of my favourite filmmakers ever. And it's funny because I'm not actually personally a huge fan of Hunter S. Thompson. I remember getting into my 20s, and it's he's one of those authors that you kind of. Bukowski was another one. You hear of all these authors as you get older, just by influence and other things, and you think, oh, I should probably read that, man. And then I read it, and I didn't really get into it. I liked William Burroughs, I liked his work, and I liked Bukowski's work, but I never really got into Hunter's work. But then I do love Terry Gilliam, and I think the two of them work well together.
Yeah.
I think his visuals are all over the place in this film. It's, as always, it's got it's a really nice. It's Blu-Ray, obviously. It's a brand new 4K restoration of the film, and it looks really good. I didn't watch the film yesterday. Had a little bit of a sneak preview of it, but it does look really, really nice. And of course, it's packed with featurettes, and interviews, and old interviews, and commentaries, and there's some new interviews with people like Benicio del Toro, and the producer, and production designers, and costume designers, and lots of people like that. Really interesting stuff. If as always, if you love watching these films, and if you love knowing about these films, these are great for things like that. This is the limited edition, so it also has. On disc 2, you've got For No Good Reason, which is a documentary about Ralph Steadman. So Ralph Steadman is a Welsh illustrator artist who worked with Hunter S. Thompson a lot over his life, and that's a documentary with Johnny Depp talking about his life and his career. And it's an old one. It's from 2013, and I have seen it somewhere. I can't think where I saw it. There's a documentary called Breakfast with Hunter. I may have seen it. It was either on that DVD or I can't remember where, but I've definitely seen that before. And it's got people like, Terry Gilliam's in there, and Richard E. Grant, and people like that. So that's, again, if you like.
He didn't do the artwork for With No Lie, did he?
He did.
There you go.
That's right.
So that's probably
yes, it's that kind of, you'd know it if you. It's that kind of scratchy, kind of crazy, all over trippy artwork. Kind of goes hand in hand with both Hunter S. Thompson and Terry Gilliam. And I think that's although it's interesting, if you know much about Terry Gilliam, he says himself he's never actually ever taken any drugs. He says that
I don't think he needs to, does he?
Well, he said that if he ever took any drugs, he'd probably implode because his mind is so off his nuts anyway. But it's quite interesting actually. He's almost like an outsider in this film because he's making a film about drugs, but not being someone who's had a history of drug taking, so he doesn't really understand that world, but he obviously understands crazy visuals. And I think this film's amazing for that. And in fact, one thing I was talking a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember what film we were talking about, when I mentioned about not liking CGI and not thinking all they ever do with CGI is like explode buildings. And it would be really interesting to see some strange stuff. But of course, Terry Gilliam is someone who, especially in his recent films. And a little bit in this, there's the famous sequence in here when they go into the hotel and the floor is all like moving and starts creeping up his leg, which is a great scene.
I know you hated it, but Midsummer used that quite a lot, didn't it? Where there's certain things in
they
the frame
did. No, you're right. Yeah,
move.
Yeah, they use things like that too. And so I was thinking, there are people out there that do surreal stuff with CGI. And I know that I didn't see Terry Gilliam's Zero Theorem film.
I picked that up on Blu-ray, but I haven't watched it yet. Oh, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Yeah, and in that one, I remember he used CGI, although it was a little bit cheap looking, because maybe he doesn't have the biggest budgets going. He was doing surreal stuff with the use of CGI. So I think Terry Gilliam is definitely one out there who he's always used effects in strange, kind of warped, weird ways, and obviously, the famous, he obviously uses a lot of zoom and wide angle lenses, and the Dutch... it the Dutch angle? Is that what they call it in filmmaking? You know, where they tilt he shoots it at an angle, so it gives that kind of.
Oh right, yeah.
They used it a lot in Fisher King
Yeah.
and 12 Monkeys. Is a huge amount of it. Is it the Dutch angle? I think it's called the Dutch
I
angle,
can't
where they
remember.
film it so it looks just on a tilt and it
Yeah.
makes everything look kind of odd and like you're going to go mental any given moment. So yeah, but this also has a booklet in here with the original artwork on the front, because of course Arrow usually, if it's a disc like this, well in here, yeah, you flip it over. Oh, there went that. So you got the original artwork inside, and then that on there.
Obligatory postcards as well.
Postcards, and there's a poster here as well, which will probably stay in here because I never like it when they fold them up. You can never really. No, that'll just stay in there all nicely. But again, you know, it's a really nice set. So that's all. It's just going to be a quick thing because you haven't got it and you haven't seen the film for many years.
For a long time, no.
So yeah, that's really one of the ones to just quickly talk about.
Worth picking up.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely worth picking up. Obviously, this is limited edition, so I don't know if this is still available, so get in there fast. I don't know how.
It was
how
still
many
available
are
when
they?
I cancelled my order a few days
Was it?
ago.
You
So.
can have his one if you get in there quick enough.
That was why I kept, if it had not been available, I probably would have kept my pre-order, but because it was still available, I thought, I'll leave it for now and get it after Christmas.
Okay, well, I would say, obviously, if you're a fan of Terry Gilliam, pick it up.
Yeah.
Arrow have also got 12 Monkeys
Yep.
and Time Bandits.
Yep. Can't think of any of those.
I'm sure they've done another one of his. Oh, I think they've put out. Did they put Tideland out, which is one of his later ones?
Yeah, I think they did actually.
Put
Yeah,
that
I think
out,
so.
but just a normal disc.
That
of
was
it.
quite a few years ago. That was released. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
No. Anyway, you can get his films, but I would. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I recommend picking it up. I mean, you might want to. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, then you might want to watch it before you. Pick
I mean,
up
if you
the
like
limited
Gilliam
edition.
films, then
If you like Gilliam films, then
probably
this
gonna like it.
You probably even got it.
Yeah.
You don't need us to tell you, do you?
Has it got anything with Hunter S. Thompson on there? Like any?
Oh
interviews or
yeah,
anything
there's stuff in there, and in fact, there's a small feature on here of him going. So he's in the film himself. He has a cameo, and it's
I
a
think I
very
remember that.
strange cameo. And Johnny Depp kind of sees him, and then they both look at each other,
Yeah.
and it's a very odd moment. And he's in the section. When he went to film that.
Right.
There's film of him going
okay.
to film his cameo, and so there's
right.
like someone following him around for the day or
Right.
two, and he gives like Johnny Depp this weird mask, and it's all very odd. Yeah, so it's kind of packed with new stuff and old stuff, and I'm not sure if the commentaries are. There's a commentary with Terry Gilliam. I'm not sure if that's a new one or an old one. I think it might be an old one. I have a feeling Terry Gilliam doesn't seem to have. He's not in any of the new interviews, so I don't know whether he's actually directly involved in this package, and maybe it's older stuff that he's linked to. But anyway, so pick it up if you're a fan because it's beautiful, because it's beautifully done. So that was the Arrow release of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas Blu-ray, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, let us know in the comments below.
Hit the subscribe button up there if you've enjoyed it, and hit the bell for notifications. There's some other videos to check out over there. Come and find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and come back soon for another one.